Hello, and welcome to today's surprise episode of So You Think You're Awake. My name is April Angel, and I call it a surprise episode because I'm just as surprised for you to be hearing me as you are. For those of you who have not met me yet, yes, April Angel is my real name and not something I made up to sound magical, though you're welcome to think that. I am also one of the lead instructors at the Ashling School, along with Holly Beatros and, of course, Michael Sheridan. I've been interpreting dreams for 7 years. I've been teaching dream interpretation at the Ashling School for 2 years, and I learned everything I know about dreams from Michael himself. So we will put his teaching prowess on the line here, not my interpretation skills. So just remember that. I take zero responsibility for what you will hear and witness today. Of course, I'm kidding. I'm willing to stand here at the executioner's wall and take full responsibility for my dream interpretation skills. I was actually meant to be on vacation today, but the trip got postponed by 3 days due to a tropical storm. And while preparing to give myself the most fabulous last-minute DIY manicure that Miami, Florida will ever see, I missed a call from Michael by 7 minutes. So I rushed to call him back and I didn't see that he'd left me a voicemail. So when I dialed him back right away, he must have assumed I listened to his voicemail and already knew and was therefore agreeing to cover the radio show for him this week. And he blamed for getting his computer charger on a family trip for the reason that he needed me to step up. But I suspect that all of this is a setup because he's been asking Holly and me to do this for months. So I've been hesitant because he's just so good at doing the show and I like to listen to it. But as you may know from listening to Michael's dream interpretation show already, our dreams are always asking us to expand. So even though I'm surprised to be here, it's not as surprising is when I woke up in the emergency room at age 20 with vomit in my hair because my best friend talked me into doing shots of Southern Comfort and gin of all things. I've always been a pushover, and I'm only telling you this so that Michael never invites me to cover for him again. And I wish I had a live audience laugh track to play because trying to be funny in a void is weird. I obviously think that I'm hilarious, but I can also admit that I make weird, bad jokes when I'm new to the room and nervous. All right, I've stalled enough. Let's tuck into some dreams. Today, I'm going to focus on dreams that I've seen while assisting people to do the healing therapy called cutting the ties that bind. Looking at one's dreams while undergoing any therapy is a fantastic tool because you're able to see all that is either buried or being unearthed from the subconscious. In fact, one of the most important insights gained by in-depth psychology has been the discovery that people are dual in nature. We contain a basic polarity of a conscious and unconscious self. We have the individual nature that we are familiar with. This is that part that feels and acts in the way that we identify as ourselves. And we also have another hidden part of ourselves, and many call this the shadow self. And this contains all of the less developed and less acceptable aspects of ourselves. These hidden aspects fight for a valued place in our life at the same time that it disrupts our life and our complacency of our self-image. And the interplay between these two parts of ourselves is a constantly shifting dance. It creates the tension and inner drama that we feel at different times all throughout life. Anyone who is unaware of the truth of this will still grow and expand from the dance and inner conflict. But isn't it wonderful to understand that our dreams show us this dance map and even offer us tutorials on how to move through life with more grace? You might be blind to some of your hidden aspects, but your higher self is not. And it is illuminating the parts of yourself that yearn for more acceptance. The way I think of it is that we are all a part of God, and the nature of God is unconditional love itself. And this bridges all manners of tolerance and acceptance. So it makes sense that we would happily come to earth to learn to accept a lower vibration part of ourselves. And even That I say with caution, because lower vibration doesn't mean negative. The truth is that coming to earth is hard. Living as an animal, a human animal, with all of the limitations of an animal body and instincts that are separate from the souls is a great challenge. If we can accept our hidden nature and the body itself, we will grow and expand as a soul and naturally have a more pleasant time on earth. Sometimes it's our philosophy of life that needs improvement, and our dreams will show if we need to improve our philosophy of life. Some people love life and see it as a gift. Some people think life's a bitch and then you die. You just pay taxes and then you die. And those are the kind of things that dreams will bring up, like that we need to improve, because that's not what life is. In dreams, the body is sometimes depicted as a dog. The idea of that being that dogs are a man's best friend and the body is your soul's best friend. There is no other way that your mission on earth can be completed to success without it. Your body is to be highly valued. Just think of all those disembodied souls just floating around trying to possess people. Those souls get it. God, I'm joking. Michael has artistic permission to edit out anything that I've said here today. So if you heard what I just said about demonic possessions, please direct all angry emails towards him. Also, I just realized that I said the B word a little while, and I don't know if that's going to fly on the radio station. So sorry, Michael, you have permission to use your voice to say a censored word for the commentary. That would be hilarious. Okay, dreams. All right. So the first dream we're going to look at is from Veronica. This one is called Invitation on a Ship. I was invited by a woman to go across the Atlantic Ocean with a man that wasn't my husband. I thought it was a good opportunity because he was wealthy and had high status. I thought it would be amazing, an amazing fancy trip. I felt guilty going because I would be leaving my husband and 3 kids. When I got to the ship terminal, the ship was crappy and kind of small. My family showed up at the terminal also. The ship started sinking and we had to get on a small escape boat. The small boat didn't have a top. The man was driving it. The boat went several feet underwater, but was still moving. Everyone was underwater but me. My head was above water. I felt panicked and scared. I was trying to help a woman sitting by me by lifting her up above the water. My family was also on the escape boat, but they were underwater. All right, so we'll go to the very beginning. I was invited by a woman to go on a trip across the Atlantic Ocean. This is symbolizing, this whole dream is about the dreamer's birth and her plan to come to Earth. And it's trying to give us a little bit of the bigger picture of what she's doing here. It's trying to give her the bigger picture. So she was invited on a trip. So that's literally coming to Earth. That's the trip across the Atlantic Ocean that she was making. And she was invited by a woman. So that tells us when we see something in dreams like this, where the dreamer is being invited by a woman, that tells us that she didn't feel welcome to the Earth plane because of mom. So the dream is doing something that we call a healing device by giving us what we lacked earlier in life. So here she's being invited by the woman because she didn't feel invited by mom. And that can happen if it's a surprise pregnancy. We can speculate a lot of different things, but this is the way that shows up. So she was invited across this trip, on this trip across the Atlantic Ocean with a man that wasn't her husband. And at the time, she thought it was a good opportunity because he was wealthy and he had a high status. The first rule of dream interpretation is that you are everything in the dream. So the fact that this person is wealthy and has high status means that the dreamer herself on a soul level is wealthy and has high status. Wealth in a dream or money in a dream represents the heart. So we can interpret this as her just having an abundance of love. Like on a soul level, she has an abundance of love. And she also has a high status, which tells us that she, on a soul level, is a very advanced soul. She has this high status. And in fact, when you channel on this dreamer when I did, she's an angel. She is an incarnated angel. So it makes sense that as soon as she goes on this trip that she thought would be fancy, she realizes that the boat is small and crappy. So that's, she's going from a place where she's a part of source itself and she's feeling all of this unconditional love. And then she comes to the earth plane and all of that is stripped because we volunteer to take on the veil and experience amnesia while we're here. And it's just such a stripping away of what we were used to. It's only temporary, but it still feels that way. She also says that she feels guilty going because she would be leaving her husband and 3 kids. Now, on the soul plane, we don't have husbands and kids. We are one with everything and we are free. We're not committed to one person or these children. So this is something that she would be experiencing in reality on the earth plane as a human. She feels guilty going on the trip and doing something for herself. And this, as we've seen in more dreams, or I've seen in more dreams with this person, she does have a sense of feeling guilty doing things for herself that wouldn't include being thoughtful of another person and what they need. So that's something that she is being asked to deal with. And we're going to see that in the next dream that I interpret too. But guilt is something that doesn't serve us on a human level. It does not serve us whatsoever to hold on to any guilt. Like, you learn the lesson, you process it, you expand, but you don't need to hold on to guilt and you don't need to experience guilt. So that's something that dreams will always be asking you to heal if that's something that plagues you in reality. Then we see that she goes to the terminal and she says the word terminal twice. She says, I got to the ship terminal and it was small and crappy. And then my family showed up to the terminal as well. Terminal is the kind of word we use when someone has cancer and it's terminal. It represents things aren't going well or it didn't go well. So this part of the dream tells us that she had a near-death experience while she was still in the womb. That's a very challenging, awful thing. And a lot of times when someone has something like that happen to them so early in life, they're able to bring in a lot of gifts, a lot of spiritual gifts with them. This dream isn't necessarily talking about all the gifts that she has. It mentions one of them, but it's saying that this is an experience that you had right at the start of life. So if you're having a difficulty with being on the earth plane and accepting being here and being happy, this is why. It was a heck of a first start to life. This is something that needs to be healed, because when that's your first impression of being somewhere, it's really hard to get over that. So we're all here to expand and grow, and people that are here as light workers will often have an experience just like this dream is showing, where a difficult time feeling at peace on the earth plane, and it leaves you with no other alternative than to look internally into yourself and figure out why you're feeling that way, and then to heal the issues from the root. And that's what this person has decided to do, which is why I'm seeing their dreams and helping them with this therapy. So that's this first dream. She gets on the boat and, like, let's see, the man was driving it. It was going underwater. Everyone was underwater but me. My head was above water, but she felt panicked and scared. Again, this is the start of life. That's how she felt. But now this dream is showing that at the time of the dream, she had a resistance of getting into the spiritual field, at least in the past. She used to hate being on the earth plane, and she didn't want to get into the spiritual field either. And she said that she's helping a woman keep her head above water. That's part of doing it as well. Like, she doesn't want to get all the way into the water, represents spirit. She doesn't want to get all the way underwater. She doesn't want to get as deep as she's meant to go, at least at the time of this dream. It's shifting for her. Once she realized what she's here to do, it's been shifting. And it really comforted her to hear that she has this big of a purpose, that she is an incarnated angel, and that she's here to do something major, because she's felt her whole life this sense that she's missing something, that she's here to do something important, but she just couldn't figure out what it is. And so now that she knows, thanks to her dreams, she's in the driver's seat. Let's see, is there anything else from this dream I want to point out? Oh, she says that I was trying to help a woman sitting by me by lifting her up. That's exactly what she's here to do. She's here to work on her own feminine aspects. In the dream, she says she's trying to help a woman, which tells us that she's a spiritual leader teacher. And her angelic nature will make her naturally want to be helping all the time. It's just in her nature to want to help. And you see that in dreams of people that are here to do stuff like that. So I'm going to go to our next dream. This one is called Tickets to the Theater. Jonathan, my husband, and I were all dressed up and had tickets to go to the theater. I'm not sure if it was a singing or acting performance. We never actually made it to the theater. We drove there in an old pickup truck. Our tickets were in a nice red envelope. I put the tickets and my purse in the bed of the truck. We were parked in the parking lot, and I saw a man and a woman in black who needed help, a ride or something. They looked suspicious, but I helped them anyway. The woman went to grab my red envelope, and I hurried and I grabbed it before she did. I picked up all my stuff from the bed of the truck. My arms were full. I put all of my stuff on my lap. I was driving. All right, we're going to stop here and we're going to start looking into what this dream means. So she says they were all dressed up and they had tickets to go to the theater. The theater represents trying to give her an expanded view of what she's here to do in this life. And the tickets represent karma. So it's telling her what she is karmically here to do. Now, the performance that they were getting ready to go see, she said it was either acting or singing. She couldn't remember which one, but it doesn't matter because they both mean the same thing as far as dreams go. So she's a channel. That's what that means. She says, I never made it to the theater, and they were driving an old pickup truck, and she had this red envelope. The red envelope also represents her channeling gift. And the fact that it's red and that it's connected to this truck tells her that she has a responsibility to channel for her career. This is meant to be her career, and it's a red envelope. So she's meant to embrace the fun of it. She's meant to be having fun doing this. The dreamer has admitted on the side, however, that she has a fear of judgment, and any fear of judgment naturally will cause a resistance to just doing something this out of the box, right? Then she said that she was in the parking lot and she noticed a man and a woman in black. We usually always see a man and a woman in channeling dreams because channeling requires a balance of masculine and feminine energy. So it's good that we see these two together, but they were wearing black. So that represents the fears that she has around this gift. But she said she was still willing to help them, even though she seemed suspicious. So that is fantastic. We love to see that in the dream. She was afraid that the woman was going to grab the envelope, so she grabbed it too. And that's just showing that she, again, has a little bit of a mistrust regarding using these gifts and sharing herself in a vulnerable way and sharing anything to do with her heart in a vulnerable way. But again, she does take on the responsibility of helping them. And so that's really positive in the dream. That's fantastic. And her higher self would have been happy with her response to that. And we know that it's important for her to do this because, well, one, it's in the dream, but two, she puts that envelope and her purse in the back of the truck. That's an odd place to put your belongings or the things that you feel responsible for. So she grabs all of her stuff and she puts it in her lap, which is another positive thing to do as far as dreams are concerned. And she was the one driving the car, which is also really positive. You want to be the one in the driver's seat of your life. If someone else is driving the car in the dream, it means that that person or their influence in some way is directing you and the decisions that you're making in life. So here she is driving the car. Fantastic. We love to see that. The next paragraph says, I never actually helped the couple with anything. Well, she feels like she didn't help the couple with anything, but that's not true. She was willing to help them and she took them on. So that's all that her higher self really needed to do. As far as this dream goes, it shows her willingness to do something. Has she channeled in life yet? No, not yet, but she's now doing the work that she needs to do in order to put herself in the position where she can brave that next new step in life, that thing that she came here to do, that her soul is really excited for her to be embracing. So at this point, we went into the theater. we were in the lobby of the theater, and it was a beautiful theater. The lobby represents birth. The lobby is where people are received, and it represents our reception at the start of life. So she immediately says it's a beautiful theater, and then she goes into the office where a man was working very hard and was really stressed out. I'm not sure what my relationship was with this man. I felt guilty because he was working so hard and I wasn't doing anything. I may have been his assistant or something. He asked me if I would order him a white wine spritzer. I don't drink, but I wanted to order one for myself also. In parentheses, she says, that's just usually how I feel in real life. I used to drink, but my husband and I decided not to because we agreed it was better to raise our kids without it. Then I went back into the lobby and found my husband. We ordered some food. After the food came, I realized I forgot to order the drinks. So I ordered the drinks and explained to my husband who it was for. Okay, so we see that she is in this office with this man. It's going to represent dad and the things that she picked up from dad. She describes her dad as being really hardworking. He was a salesman. He did construction stuff. And she felt that she needed to be perfect because dad was also an alcoholic, and he would drink or he would stay after work. And so she would try to be perfect in order to keep her dad home so that he wouldn't leave. And, financially, he wasn't very responsible. So that put a lot of stress on mom. These are the kind of things that she experienced. So as far as this masculine energy doing a lot of work and then her feeling guilty, that's something that she needs to heal. That guilt is showing up again, where she feels like she needs to be more than she naturally already is. She's already wonderful. We've already discovered that from the last dream, where she's got this high status and she's really wealthy, but she feels like she's not, and she has to perform in certain ways. So her higher self is asking her to let go of that. And it's showing her where the influence was picked up. And I asked her if she feels guilty when other people do things for her. And she said, yes, she feels like she's obligated to them if they help her. And I asked her if she does acts of service out of guilt. And she said that, yeah, she does do that with her mother. So it definitely shows up for her that she can't just let somebody be doing their own things. She feels like she has to also participate or help out or compensate in some way. What else is in that part of the dream? Oh, she wants to order a drink, but she said that it was odd because in reality, she doesn't drink. And so that just goes to show, that just puts into perspective how much she actually does limit herself in reality. She limits her fun, which is why the color red was being emphasized. She limits her fun and she doesn't embrace life the full way that she is meant to be embracing it. So the dream is trying to get her to do that as well. And then she's ordering all this food, and that's about healing. It's about giving yourself more energy. And in dreams, that represents taking on healing. So she's starting to do a healing, and that's what's showing up in this part of the dream. Okay, the last part, she says, I had to go to the bathroom. When we see bathrooms in dreams, that's about something that needs to be eliminated, something toxic that's stuck with us that we just need to let go of. So she's in the bathroom. She says she walked into the bathroom and the bathroom was full. And it was weird because it seemed like it was an old folks' home inside the bathroom. The old folks' home tells us that the influence that needs to be eliminated is something that she picked up from her parents. And then she says the toilet had no stall walls. That's really common, that you go into a bathroom and it's something weird is going on, but here there's no walls. So that's about the heart. And you often hear it described as someone having walls up around their heart. That's because they are protecting themselves. And so this dream is saying, eliminate the way that you're guarded and the way that you protect yourself out of fear of experiencing the pain that you felt earlier in life due to the way that your parents were and the influence that had on you. Then she says, the old people were sitting by the toilets with all their stuff, like beds and everything. I left and went to find another bathroom. The next bathroom was full. Also, I really had to go. So I asked an old lady if I could use her toilet, and she said yes, which is very positive. I pulled down my nylons and sat down. I was really uncomfortable because my backside was touching her, like she was laying down in a bed, but also straddling a toilet. I noticed someone left the toilet a few down from me. So I hurried and got up and went to that toilet. And that was the end of the dream. So we see in the part that's most significant is that she asks to use the toilet. She's got permission in the dream, which is positive. But it also shows that she feels like she needs permission from other people. She doesn't give herself permission in life. And because of her past, she feels uncomfortable being in her heart and emotions around other people. Not in all situations, not with all people, but enough so that her dreams are bringing it up in this case. Like if she were exposing herself in certain situations, she wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. And it says that she said her backside was touching the other lady. So the backside represents the past, and touching represents the heart too. You know, when something happens that's meaningful, you'd say, oh, that touched me. So it's saying that she's not comfortable in her feelings. It's just another way to say it. The dream is saying it in a lot of ways, and that's just what dreams do. So it's saying because of her past, she's not as comfortable with an open heart as she needs to be in order to fully embrace this gift and use it out in the world. So for this dreamer, she's being asked to not deny herself fun and pleasure out of interest for others. She's meant to embrace what she finds fun and what she finds pleasurable and not feel like she has to be of service to others by denying herself those things, because it's kind of a twisted reality that we all take on. And then it's asking her to just open her heart and be in her feelings. And by doing the healing that she's doing now, she will be able to step into her channeling gift and use it the way that her higher self is asking her to do. So thank you for listening to this episode with me. And if you have any complaints, please direct them to Michael, and I'm sure he will be happy to address them. I don't know what I'm saying, guys. I get really weird when I'm new to stuff. So it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next time, or not. Have a great week. Bye.